organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, laptops, iPods, and more. University of Iowa students spend most of their day wired online. We'll tell you why students are replacing a plug to stay connected.
Find out what the university is doing to make adding and dropping classes easier for students.
And in sports, we're back. Pre-game is set to go in studio coming up soon.
That's all coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Good evening and welcome to your Thursday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Reed Chandler.
And I'm Muriel Kone.
University of Iowa students now have a different option while connecting to the internet. It's called Edgerome, and with a new wireless system fully in place by Friday, the old system is going dark. UI technology officials announced the transition last spring. Students can access the new network on any college campus where Edgerome is installed, and at no extra cost. That means people traveling to Iowa City who are a part of the program will be able to connect here on campus for free as well. Officials said there would be a period of transition before the new system worked completely. During that time, many students faced problems connecting to any wireless account at all. The University of Chicago, Indiana University, the University of Illinois, and the University of Wisconsin are all using or testing this network.
Charges are piling up for one Iowa City landlord. According to an Iowa City complaint, Iowan Miller is facing 3 more charges of invasion of privacy. Miller previously faced charges for peeping on 4 female tenants last week. They claimed he was allegedly looking at them through holes in their bathrooms. Miller admitted he was looking at his tenants in an interview with police, and his first hearing is set for November 27th at 2 p.m.
And Johnson County officials are still fighting to keep their Justice Center alive. Local voters shot down the idea on Tuesday. The building needed 60% of the vote to pass, but only received 56%. The proposed building would have provided extra courtrooms and more jail space for the currently overcrowded jail. But Chairman of the Johnson County Board of Supervisors, Rod Sullivan, said he's pleased with the amount of votes. Sullivan thinks the Justice Center is in Johnson County's future if they make a few revisions to the idea.
And now we'll turn to Dora Grote for a look at the weekend weather. Dora, what's in store for the weekend?
Well, Muriel, today was a little chilly, but the sun was out shining in full force, which is a great sign for the weekend. Tomorrow we'll start off at 47 degrees with a cloud-covered sky. We'll continue to see those clouds roll in as the day goes on, but the temps will reach a high of 59 degrees in the afternoon, and they'll stay in the lower 50s later that night. Now let's take a look at the rest of the few days. Saturday will heat up to 70 degrees, and so get out there and enjoy the football game and leave your jacket at home. It will stay in the 60s on Sunday with a chance of rain, but will drop back down to the 30s and 40s starting Monday. Looks like we'll escape from the November weather this weekend, but the lower temps will be back to stay next week. That's all for weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dora. A new bar in downtown Iowa City is attracting University of Iowa students and community members, even the under 21-year-old crowd, and a city exemption could be the reason. City officials are granting Iron Hawk a 6-month exception to the 21 ordinance. The bar on Washington Street opened this September. Iron Hawk owner Eric Kaw said he's pleased with how many customers his bar is drawing in. Kaw said his staff does a good job monitoring the customers who are drinking to make sure minors aren't in possession. However, Kaw said he isn't sure whether he will renew the exemption next year.
The process of adding or dropping a class here at the university has been quite the hassle for students in the past years, but this upcoming semester the university is implementing an easier way to adjust your schedule. Our own Stefan Duran tells us more about the new registration method.
Are you tired of walking around campus and waiting to add or drop a class at the start of a new semester? Well, many students are, which has led the university to adopt a new add-drop method when registering for classes. The old slip method has become a hassle for students and professors alike. Starting this next semester, students will be able to add and drop classes quickly on ICES. Many registration officials feel like this process will save the university and students large amounts of time.
If you don't have to get signatures and you don't have to stand in line at Calvin Hall, maybe you'll drop classes earlier in the week if you're a student, and that frees up a space for another student.
Although the university is eager to see the benefits of this new process, there are some groups of students that won't be able to use this new method. Student athletes are not able to use the electronic process in fear that too many drop classes will interfere with the NCAA athletic guidelines. MBA business students will not be a part of this new process because their registration process is different than regular registration. Also, after 5 days, a student must follow the slip process so that professors can better control who enters a class already in session. Despite some restrictions, Beth is happy this new method will be more favorable to students.
I'm really excited that we can move forward with processes that help students make life more efficient and convenient for students. And that's really what motivated this change.
Last semester, over 4,000 students walked through that exact door to manually add or drop a class. So needless to say, students and staff are ready for this long, dreadful process to be over. Stephen Duran, Daily Iowan TV.
The registrar's office hopes this new process will make the beginning of next semester easier for students and faculty. And things may be looking rough in Hawkeye country right now, but Kirk Ferentz's squad may have the perfect medicine coming into the unfriendly confines of Kinnick Stadium this Saturday. A reeling Purdue squad who has lost 5 in a row and have not won a game in over a month. Can the Hawks reverse this losing trend? Pregame starts now.
Hello and welcome back to our Daily Iowan TV Sports pregame show, our weekly program where we get you prepared for everything black and gold ahead of the Hawks' next matchup this weekend versus their cross-division rival, Purdue.
That's right, Josh, and this week's show has everything. And while we're taking a week off from our 2-minute drill, we will be debuting a new segment this week, as well as airing an extended interview with the Black and Gold #1 pro prospect, cornerback Micah Hyde.
But before we get started with all of that, there is a game to be played at Kinnick Stadium on Saturday, and our own Daily Iowan TV sports reporter Nick Rector has the preview.
This weekend, Kinnick Stadium will play host to a matchup between the Big Ten bottom feeders, Iowa and Purdue. The 2 and 3 Hawkeyes welcome the Purdue Boilermakers into town on Saturday. Iowa's main advantage? Purdue hasn't won a Big Ten game yet this year, and they haven't beaten the Hawkeyes since 2007. The downside? This game is Purdue's best opportunity to log that first win. Last week, Iowa struggled against Indiana's big defensive linemen Adam Ropelagle and Larry Black. This Saturday, they might have similar problems when Purdue defensive tackles Kawan Short and Bruce Gaston come to town, a duo that has probably kept Iowa's young offensive guards up at night all week long. And with ground and pound sophomore fullback Mark Wiseman out for yet another matchup, Iowa's running game could be one-dimensional and easy to stop. This weekend's theme is a blackout, as Iowa will honor the military with a pregame military salute. Also in honor of the armed forces, the Hawks will be wearing pro-combat throwback uniforms, so don't be too surprised when you see them in black and gray on Saturday instead of black and gold. All in all, this will be a pretty even matchup, but with Iowa's bad track record of blowing early leads, it will all come down to execution in the second half. Nick Rector, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
That's not all the insider reporting we have for the Hawks' crucial home contest versus the Boilermakers. Our own Ian Martin is in the newsroom with Ben Ross, a man whose job all season long is to write about the Hawks' results on the gridiron week after week. Ian?
Ian Martin standing in the Daily Iowan newsroom with Iowa football reporter Ben Ross. And Ben, the Hawkeyes need to win 2 out of their last 3 games to be bowl eligible this year. Probably going to be a tough task considering their schedule, but should we even be talking about bowl games this year for this team?
No, in my opinion, this Iowa football team hasn't really played well enough to deserve even going to the bowl. They're on a 3-game Big Ten losing streak, first since 2010. They're below 500 for the first time since 2007. And out of their next 3 games, Purdue is really the only winnable opponent when you look at Michigan and Nebraska coming left.
Yeah, not the easiest last 2 games of the year for Iowa. Now, you have your reasons for Iowa being not as good this year, but a lot of people overlooking injuries, in particular injuries to the offensive line for Iowa, and that's what your pregame cover story is about this week.
Yeah, you know, Brandon Scherf and Andrew Donnell, they both went out against Penn State, and really Scherf had the big left tackle. he is really missed. Standing at 6'5" and 310 pounds, he was Iowa's biggest offensive lineman. Just a force in the running game. He helped Mark Wiseman rush to over those 600 yards and 10 touchdowns in that 4-game span, and now I think I was really missing him in the running game.
Yeah, injury has been plaguing the Hawkeyes seemingly all year long, offensively more so than defensively. Well, make sure you read Ben's story in tomorrow's pregame magazine. That's all about the print side. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for that, Ian. And now, as promised, our player insider, Annie Costable, is standing by the Hawkeye practice facility with perhaps the most important player on Phil Parker's defense, Micah Hyde. Annie?
Annie Costable standing alongside Micah Hyde. Micah, how are you guys going to prepare this week to take on the third-ranked passing offense in Purdue?
Just prepare like we do every week. We're going to go into this week, especially today, and watch some film and come out here and practice and prepare like we do every week. It's not any different. We're going to watch a lot of film. We're gonna work hard in practice, work on our defense, and supporting the run. And if they go out there and pass the ball, we'll be ready to shut that down too if that's the case. But just work as a defense and try to come out here and gel together. Again today as a practice.
And you guys have struggled the past 3 weeks. What changes are you going to make this week to be successful against Purdue?
You just got to work harder. Like I said, I think in the past couple of weeks we've worked hard. Even Coach can say himself, we've had some good, Tuesday, Wednesday practices. We put them back to back. And even Thursday practices with, going out there and polishing up everything. So we had some good practices, but, it's just we come on Saturday and we gotta compete a little better and maybe prepare a little better if that's the case. And we're going to have to do the same this Saturday.
You guys need to win 2 games to be eligible for a bowl game. Does that add pressure, or are you guys using that as motivation?
It's not any pressure, or I don't think it's any motivation at all. We're just focused on this week. We're not looking forward to we know we have 3 games left, but if we don't win this week, then nothing's possible. So we got to go out there and against Purdue and give it our all.
Well, for Micah Hyde, I'm Annie Costable. Back to you guys in the studio.
And Micah mentioned that this team isn't focused on going bowling this year. Having said that, a loss to the Boilers most likely will mean missing out on postseason play for the first time since 2007, which brings us to the new Inside the Numbers segment.
That's right. For those of you who missed out on Tuesday's edition of the Daily Iowan, listen up. Pre-game editor Sam Luwaji found some glaring similarities between the 2007 version of the Hawks, the last Kirk Ferentz coach squad to miss out on a bowl game, and the 4-5 Iowa Hawkeyes. First up is senior signal caller James Vandenberg's quarterback rating, a shocking 9 points lower than Jake Christensen's in 2007.
And what's even more alarming is Vandenberg's place in the Big Ten when it comes to touchdown passes, 15th, which may not seem too concerning until you realize that there's only 12 starting quarterbacks in that conference. And
while the Hawks will be fighting to avoid a similar fate to their 2007 squad, the Boilermakers would undoubtedly do anything to go back half a decade. Why, you may ask? While 2007 was the last time Iowa missed out on a bowl game, it was also the same year as the Boilers' last postseason appearance before last season's win in the Little Caesars Bowl.
And that's all for us here in pregame tonight. Be sure to tune in this Sunday for highlights of the Hawks battle with the Boilermakers.
Go Hawks and beat Purdue.
Josh and Lauren, thanks. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Friday's edition of the Daily Iowan. Red flags are popping up on the University of Iowa's campus. Read about how these decorations are bringing awareness to dating violence.
And how the Bijou Theater might be moving towards mainstream movies.
And that's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out on Sunday at the same time or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.